I need your help, Heat Nation. And what is that help? I need you to subscribe, because here at the Heat Report, I want to bring you guys daily videos surrounding the Miami Heat and do watch parties for almost every NBA game that the Heat play. Well, the issue is my boss has said that will not be able to continue on the watch party front if we don't get to 6,600 on this video. So hit that sub button, 15 subscribers away. Join the channel. You won't regret it. And with that being said, let's get into today's video. All right, what's up, Heat fans? I'm Nic Rohloff of the Heat Report. And on today's show, we're talking about the latest trade rumors surrounding your Miami Heat, and that starts with Pascal Siakam. Yes, you heard that correctly. There is a little bit of reported interest from the Heat side in Siakam, so it's time to talk about Spicy P, the big man from the Toronto Raptors. NBA champion, people forget, was very good in that finals, by the way, in 2019 when the Raptors, Kawhi Leonard, ironically enough, Kyle Lowry as well, took down the Golden State Warriors. But you might be asking, where did this report come from? Where is this interest stemming from? Well, Eric Kareen of The Athletic, where it feels like there's a new Athletic reporter every single day, by the way. But either way, Eric had to say this: I'm sure Miami will kick the tires on Pascal Siakam, even if it's not the cleanest fit. And this report was also coming in an article that Eric dropped surrounding the latest about the Raptors, whether they're going to sell at the deadline or try to buy and make the playoffs potentially at the bottom of the Eastern Conference. By the way, a little bit of a talented roster over there in Toronto. There's no reason for them to not be good, but we saw it last year. We're seeing it again early this season. But to be honest, this is intriguing to me because Spicy P does a lot of good things on the basketball court. And he's someone that has caught my eye because I think he could potentially fit with Bam and Jimmy. I know that Eric laid out the fit might not work, and this was coming into the season. I thought Siakam would be a good fit with Miami. But now I'm seeing why many others believe that the fit wouldn't be that good for the Heat. And the reason is, I'm going to cut right to the chase. The three-point numbers from Pascal Siakam. In 2023, 23 games played, he's been decent, 20 points a game, 6.8 rebounds. One thing I like about Siakam, by the way, that is very underrated about him is his playmaking. Ever since he entered the league, his assist numbers on a yearly basis has gone up, and a 5-assist a game guy at that power forward position, that is very enticing for any basketball team. He's very efficient when scoring the basketball, right? Shooting 50% from the field. And if you take away that three-point number of 21.2%, well, if he's just taking away what he's shooting on the twos, well, that number is going to be closer to 60%. So he's very effective inside the arc. The issue is that three-point shooting, which I'll talk more about in a second. But when you look at the advanced shooting numbers of Pascal Siakam, I mentioned that effectiveness inside the paint and inside the arc. Well, he's shooting 60.1% when he's 10 feet away from the basket, which is where he likes to do most of his work. He shoots 9 times a game in that area. The pull-up midi is something that also catches my eye. Doesn't take that many a game, only 2.6 shots a night, but shooting 50% in that mark, that will absolutely play because when you get to the rim like he does, it's nice to throw in a little hesitation pull-up jumper at the elbow as well. The pull-up three numbers, well, that's a little ugly. Doesn't shoot them often, which is a good thing because he can't make them. And when I say he can't make them, he hasn't made one. He's shooting 0% when he's dribbling into a three-point shot. Now, when you look at what he's doing on the catch from beyond the arc, which is where I want to dive into. He's shooting 26.9% on catch-and-shoot threes on 3 attempts a night, and that is the reason why the fit is a little concerning because Siakam, by the way, a career 32% three-point shooter, so that number is down a full 10% through the first quarter of this season. But the reason why this is concerning, and I talked about this with DeMar DeRozan potentially being a fit with Miami as well. Well, if you bring in Spicy P, maybe he's your 4th best scorer, as DeRozan might be your 3rd in comparison to Tyler Herro. I think Herro might be a better scorer than Pascal Siakam because he could do it all ends. But back to Siakam, right? Your top 3 or 3 of your top 4 scorers cannot all do the same thing, right? Like Jimmy doesn't shoot threes that often. He will do it in the postseason, but he doesn't do it in the regular season. Bam Adebayo obviously doesn't shoot threes. Jimmy and Bam like to do their work at the free throw line, the elbow, and getting to the rim. Well, Pascal Siakam is no different. So having 3 of your top guys all want to work in that same area of the 15 feet away from the basket and close to the basket, well, that's just going to create poor spacing. Now, there will be good fits with that possibility, and we'll look more on the defensive side in a second. But when you look purely offensive, it is concerning that your 3 or 4 best offensive players can all do the same thing and all don't shoot that good of a percentage from 3, if at all. I mean, 22 from Siakam. Bam doesn't even shoot him right now. And then Jimmy is up and down. He can make them, but he doesn't take them often. And, well, Jimmy doesn't like to score the basketball at times as well. So the offensive fit can definitely be a concern because of Siakam's lack of three-point shooting. If you're shooting 35% like he has been the past couple of years, I'd be much more intrigued. But let me know. Beat Pat Riley. Would you trade for Pascal Siakam? Type Y for yes, type N for no. It's an intriguing player that could be on the market. He is a free agent coming up this year. And coming up in just a bit, I am going to give you my answer. But I want to go through some of the reasons why you should or they shouldn't trade for Siakam before I give my final answer. And I think we have to flip to that defensive side because I think Pascal Siakam would slide perfectly into the Heat lineup at the 4 and be able to switch defensively in that front court with Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo. Siakam's a little bit on the frail side of things when you look at his frame, but he's lengthy, he's athletic, he can move his feet, he's only 29 years old, and when you have Butler, Siakam, and Bam all in the front court at the same time, you're going to be able to do a lot of things on the defensive side of the ball when it comes to blitzing, double teaming, and also being able to switch 1 through 5. We know Erik Spoelstra likes to go versatile on the defensive end. It's actually why Nikola Jovic has struggled thus far, is because Spo is asking him to be able to switch onto other guys, and Jovic isn't able to do that on quicker guards and bigger centers. But Siakam would be able to do that in spot starts, and he's been a very good wing defender over his career. You look at his numbers from the closest defender mark this season. He is defending opponents at 47.5% from the field. And I have some numbers pulled up that I want to share just to make that look a little bit in perspective. So Siakam's defensive field goal percentage allowed is 47.5. Bam Adebayo, who I think is the best defender on the planet and certainly is the best defender on the Heat roster, his field goal percentage allowed, 43.9. That's obviously elite. Now let's look at someone in that big man role that is not good at playing the defensive side, Kevin Love. His field goal percentage allowed, 51.9. So Siakam right in the middle of Bam Adebayo's eliteness and Kevin Love's deficiencies. So Siakam proving to be an average to above average defender for his position. And I mentioned it just a second ago. We know Erik Spoelstra loves versatility. Versatility on the offensive end, just like Josh Richardson, being able to be a catch and shoot guy, but also being a ball handler as well. The same goes for the Heat on the defensive side of the basketball. And I mentioned the ability to switch 3 through 5 between Butler, Siakam, and Adebayo would be very, very enticing. It would make the Heat one of the best defensive teams in the NBA. They are a middle of the pack right now defensively. I believe their efficiency rating on that side of the floor is about 15th. And with Bam Adebayo out, by the way, quick tangent, 28th. Just shows how important Adebayo is to this Heat defense. But Siakam would be able to gel that on days that Bam or Jimmy do not play. And then when they all play together, well, that defense would become very, very elite. More on Siakam in a bit in my full answer on if the Heat should trade for him. But first, got to show some love to our sponsor today, which is PrizePicks, the #1 daily fantasy sports platform, in North America. It's daily fantasy made easy, and all you got to do is pick 2 to 6 player stat projections, and you can watch the winnings roll in. You also get a $100 first deposit match when you go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS. I got my eyes towards Week 15 in the National Football League, and I'm going very simple. Winning 3 times my money, potentially, if I get these 2 selections right. I'm taking the more than on Lamar Jackson passing yards. He's playing the Jaguars on Sunday Night Football. The Jags defense just got torched by Joe Flacco for 315. Give me more than on Lamar. And then Josh Allen taking on the Bills. That's a big-time game for both squads. I expect Josh Allen to to come out and perform. You could take my picks. You could fade my picks. You could also take picks like rapper Meek Mill and comedian Andrew Schultz, who play PrizePicks every single day. So join them at PrizePicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS to get that first deposit match up to $100. You're practically losing money as we currently speak if you're not playing PrizePicks. All right, my official answer on if the Heat should trade for Pascal Siakam. I say no. And some of you might say, well, Nick, why would you say no? You just laid out that he is very good defensively, would fit well. I know he has his three-point deficiencies, but he could still score the basketball at a good rate. Well, here's the reason why I say no. Because I don't think I'm willing to offer the assets required to acquire Pascal Siakam, especially because he is going to be an unrestricted free agent this upcoming summer. That is something that you got to keep in mind here, right? Because Siakam, if you trade for him and you give up all of those assets, well, now you got to make the decision if you're going to pay him long term or not. And I don't see that as a possibility for Miami because he's going to want close to $40 million a year because he, quite honestly, is that type of player. You can argue if he should get it or he shouldn't get it, but he's been a proven 2 or 3 on a championship contending team, and those type of guys are going to get $40 million a season. I don't know if I want to pay him that, especially when I'm paying Tyler $30 a year, paying Jimmy damn near $50, and Bam Adebayo is going to want another extension coming up in just a bit. So I don't want to deal with the headache of the money with Pascal Siakam. But if you're looking for a one-year rental and you want to go on the flip side of, hey, well, let's just go all in for this year, this is the trade that I think would possibly be that, right? To just match salary as Siakam is going to be paid $35 for this year, Kyle Lowry and Caleb Martin are going to be the 2 guys that equal that salary. It matches up almost perfectly, $1 million off. And I think you'd also have to offer a 2027 first-round pick, which would be unprotected. It's an intriguing offer, I'll be honest. From the Heat's perspective, I'll go into why I don't think this happens in a second. But let me know, would you accept this trade? Type A for accept, type D for decline. Do you think the Heat accept? Well, type A. If you don't want the Heat to do this trade, type your D's for decline. The problem I see with that trade I just mentioned, I don't think the Raptors say yes. And you might be able to talk yourself into Toronto saying yes to that trade offer because, well, Siakam is going to hit free agency. And if you're not going to extend him in the 6, you might as well get some assets in return. But the problem is, the Heat aren't going to offer a guy like Tyler Herro for Siakam. They're not going to offer Jaime Jaquez Jr. for Siakam the way he's played this year. You could maybe say Nikola Jovic could be in that deal. But just look at the 2 players I offered for Siakam to match salary. Well, Caleb Martin, who is very valuable, getting paid $7 million a year and is an elite role player. Well, here's the thing. He has a player option coming up this summer. And he has earned himself a way bigger contract than $7 million a season. So he's going to opt out and hit the free agency market to try to cash in. So you're only going to have him for a rental. Kyle Lowry is also a free agent this upcoming offseason. So that really doesn't help the Toronto Raptors. And you might say that's an expiring contract, but so is Siakam's. So the Raptors aren't getting anything long-term outside of the first-round pick. They're just getting salary matchers to help a team that really isn't going to go anywhere, and all they do is get 1 first-round pick. I'm also not offering more than 1 first-round pick for Pascal Siakam because, like I said, I'm not going to pay him for the future. So I don't think this happens when you think about the Heat not willing to offer any real valuable assets outside of maybe 1 first-round pick, and that's probably not enough to acquire the services of Pascal Siakam. I don't see this working for on either side. You can say the fit works and the Heat should do it. I just don't know who they're going to give up in order to get Spicy P to the 305. That's going to do it for today's video. If you want more trade rumors and if you want us to continue doing watch parties throughout the NBA season, make sure you join the channel and hit that sub button. YouTube.com/@HeatReport. Nic Rohloff, diehard Heat fan, making Heat content for y'all on a daily basis. So join us here on the channel and don't miss out. I'll see you on the next video. Go Heat.